Hello guys, welcome to part 2. So in previous section we already discussed about how our project structure will look like, and what our folder structure we have. Those all the things already we have discussed. As you can see, like POM XML, we have already developed the POM XML file, and we have a TestNG XML file and extend report. That doc folder we have, and src main, and we have a test. So in main we will be having a com asr and com org as asr. So in com asr we will be basically having a page and page objects class inside that, and in org asr we will be having a constants, driver, enum, factory, listeners, reports and utils. And in test we have all the runner class, hooks class that will come as part of a cucumber. We will be having a test cases we will be having, and resources where config properties file, and we will be having a test data file. So in our previous structure, previous session, we already created a project, and we have created a src and page object model. All the things we have added here related to what all dependencies we should have. Those all the things we have added, the versions inside the properties section, and dependency we have added here. And with the dollar and that flower bucket selenium dot version, so we call this version like TestNG version and extend report version, WebDriver manager and Apache POI for test data driven, and SL4J for logging purpose. Those all the dependencies, and Java dependency, like what should be our compiler, what will be our compiler version. Those all the things we have already added here inside our pom.xml. So if I go inside a src, we have a src main and test. So as I already discussed, inside a Java we have a com asr and com org asr, and in test we will be having a Java, and inside that we will be having a test cases and resources, config and test data. And inside asr com.asr we will be having a base and base page and page object class, and inside org.asr we will be having a constants and enums and driver, and all the other things will be come here inside this org.asr. So first, today we are going to discuss about one class, so which I took an example of orange HRM login page. This is this page, orange HRM login page, and here basic login scenario we will be automating, and post that we will be separating or segregating those all the details like URL and wait strategy, and how the driver initialization will be there. Those all the things will be separating, like also like our based on our page object element and their actions, so that also will be separated. So those all the things we will do in our next video, but today's video is only dedicated for performing a proper login flow with one test class, and we will be executing that one, and we will be just separating the config framework constants, and also we will be creating the enums for the same. Okay, so this is our username and password what they have already given. So we need to copy and paste and do click login and post login. It will come on this page, and we should be validating whether the dashboard is there in the URL or not. So this is the flow what we are going to execute. So I'll do logout, and these are the username and password. Okay, first and second, like this I will be taking. So first we will do the WebDriver initialization. WebDriver manager dot Chrome driver dot setup, and post that we will be doing WebDriver driver is equal to new Chrome driver. So once this initialization is done, we will do the login request dot get that login page URL, and once that is done, WebDriver dot driver is equal to new driver driver comma duration dot of seconds wait for page equal wait dot until and web driver new JavaScript executor web driver execute script is return driver dot equals to content ready for state equals to complete and wait for login username field. So we can wait dot until expected condition dot visibility of payment completed by dot export and we will take this export one. We need to wait until the element is visible. First element. So this is our web element username. Okay. And same thing for password. This will be 2. And once these are done, and we will read the and get the username and password. So string username is equal to username dot get split. We need to split this by this username and we need to take first. Means if we are splitting with this one, we need to take admin from those two. Okay. And same thing for password, we need to do same for password text. Password. Instead, we need to check for this input class we have and name also we have. So I prefer name for this. With, anyway. User name input is equal to driver dot find element by dot name and this one dot send keys. So we will send here username text. Okay. So directly perform action instead of this driver dot find element by dot name. So for the second one as well, we have a password name dot send keys and password text. So once we enter the password, username and password, we need to click on login button. So here button type is submit. We can write use submit of type and that is button. We can cover this and then driver dot find element by dot export and we will use the click method to click on that and once it will load, then post that we need to do the just wait, this is ready state. Document dot ready state. Okay, so here we will be again using data until and web driver of Java script executor. JavaScript executor of web driver and dot execute script. Script will be return document dot ready state dot equals to complete. Okay. So once this will load, we will arrange that whether our environment contains the dashboard or not. So that we can consider with driver dot get current URL dot contents of contains this dashboard or not. So this we are going to verify. And once it is done, we will do a driver dot quit. So let me run again. Loading the screen. Fail to enter. So it is throwing array index out of bound exception. Okay. Username, we told to split it, and it will be 1. It will be correct only, but let me add just a dot trim. At the end, it will just it should work. String it is filling. Index of 1 out of bound exception for length 1. This is if I add it as 0, then it should be 1 only, I guess. To the password for the username. Let me run in debug mode. Okay, so it came here. I think it is somewhere related to XPath. So XPath we have written. So whatever XPath we have written, right? So if we can see that we need to add a bracket here, then it is pointing to exactly 1. So same thing I need to do for password as well. Okay. Let me just save and run now. Okay. This time it failed at password. Okay. Let me run it now. This time too it should pass basically. So that XPath was wrong. So we need to add a bracket and post that we need to give the indexing. So that is the right way basically. So I have given it wrong. So that made a confusion between the splitting. successfully. What might be the issue? Oh my god. So by mistakenly I used password. That created a confusion. Got it finally. It should work now. So username and the password, and it came to the dashboard page and it verified the dashboard. Good, so this is document.ready state. Silly mistake, guys. Now it should pass. And here, guys, we can add the, so it passed now this time. So here we can add the, to maximize, in order to maximize the screen, we can also add WebDriver dot window dot driver dot manage dot window dot maximize, in order to maximize. And we also can add this driver dot manage dot wait dot manage dot implicitly dot implicitly wait driver on duration dot of setup. We can give the we can give this in order to wait. So this time it will run in a maximize mode and with the initial implicit wait of 50 seconds, so it won't fail. So in each and every step it will check the that 50-second wait before throwing any element not found exception. So it will check all those wait. So now our test passed. So this is what I want to discuss about today's session. So we have successfully written our first login test for orange HRM page, login page. So we did that, we completed that flow. So we are here, we are going to add those whatever we like constant framework constant we have. Those all the things we are going to add now. And we also add the config.property. Like if you see this orange.hrm now, so here we have added the URL inside this one only. So instead of that, we can use inside our config property. Here we can use our URL and we can give the URL like this inside a config.property enum class. So you can create the enum class by clicking on this one, and here you have a enum. You can give the config property like this, and you can hit enter. So that class will get created. And inside wait strategy, we will be having clickable and visible and present and none. So this is a wait strategy enum. So instead of using the explicit wait conditions, and so that we can avoid by using each and every everywhere we need to use the clickable, visible. So those all the things we can avoid, and we can use inside this wait strategy. And for this wait strategy, we can create one more explicit wait factory, so where we can directly decide which wait we need to use, and expect a condition to apply inside our wait element. So those are the things we can discuss. And inside framework constant, so here we are basically mentioning about our what is our root path we have, and what all files we'll be having. So those all the constant data, framework constants, we can mention inside this class. So first, if I can take the our root path, so that I can create by private static root path. I can give final static string. So we can mention our root path here by first we can give by system dot get property. Here we can directly decide our user directory and plus, so post that whatever we have, so user directory will be here src and post src, and so it has inside main, it has inside test src test resources, src test resources, till that it will be having, and post that whatever it is there, so it will come inside the config and all those but this is a root path of resource directory, and here we will be having our config path, config file path, private final static string of config file path, and root path plus we have a config slash config dot properties. Okay, so this is one path, and like that we will be having a test के लिए path also, test data excel path. So this is inside the resources test data dot excel sx. Okay, and post that we will be having our extend report. This is for folder, I guess. Extend report folder path. This will be there in our directly inside our root of, before root only will be able. So I will write system dot get property user dot directory plus extend test output file. This is folder extend report folder path, not the file path. So this is folder path. Same like that we will be having our file path as well. So this will give it as empty, because if you can see here, so this extend path whatever it is there, extend report file path, so this we should not give it as final because it will be changed based on that. Okay, static as well. So but it can be final. Once it is declared, it will not be reinitialized. So these all the things are there. Static rate. Okay, and these all the things are done. Explicit weight. So we can give the explicit weight explicit weight we will be having 10, and these are all the constant file strings, and once we'll have these all the things, what we'll do, this is a static int, okay, sorry, this will be int. this will be int. And once we'll have this all the static strings, so we are declaring those all the things as private, because it should not be accessed by another class. So that is why we are declaring it as private. And this is constructor, and by using the getters methods, so we will be accessing those all the things by our next another classes. So that is how get config file returns config file static string public static string. So static means basically it will be accessed by the class name dot method name. So all the static methods whatever we are going to declare, so those all the things will be accessed by the class name dot method name, and we can access those file path or whatever constant values are there. So this will explain the concept of OOPS, which is encapsulation, declaring the methods or variables with a private and restricting the direct access outside the class, and creating the public access specifier like getters and setters in order to get those values or set those values. So this is a uh, encapsulation principle what we are using in our framework. And here inside the extent report we are checking that whether it is empty path or not, and if it is empty we are assigning with our extent report folder and then slash index.html, and we are returning that extent report file path. And folder also same thing. These are the things we are discussing about today's class. So this is all about today's session. In next video we are going to discuss how we can split those all the split that single test case login test flow into multiple classes, and how we can separate those all the things inside our base page, login page, framework constant and config property, how we can separate those all the things, and how we can utilize the enum class and write the weight strategy and whatever web driver weight factories we told. So those all the things we are going to do in our next class. And also about we can talk about a driver class and how the thread local will work, and how each and every execution thread will be having separate driver, their own independent driver. So these all the things we are going to discuss in our upcoming lecture. Still there, keep learning. Thank you guys. Bye bye.